Hello and welcome to another episode of Forward with Forley. Jake and Forley here today, going to talk to you about guide dog life hacks. Life hacks are super popular. Just type into YouTube life hack videos and you'll get hundreds of thousands of them. So today, Forley and I are going to show you 5 life hacks that will hopefully make life with a guide dog, or if you're considering a guide dog, showing you how to make life a little bit easier in using some of these hacks. So just some tips and tricks to help make things go a little bit more smooth. So join us. Anybody who's visually impaired that's had a dog or is thinking about a dog has probably asked or had to solve the challenge of, how do I keep track of my dog without looking for it every 2 seconds? The answer is very simple. A bell. That's right. You heard correctly. So you can get these anywhere. You can make any design you want. This particular one is nothing more than a bolt snap. And a bolt snap is just a spring-loaded clip. It's like what you find on most dog leashes. And attached to it by a zip tie is a little copper bell. This one actually came from the Seeing Eye. My first dog came from there. And the original use for it was in class. We were teaching our dogs to stay, and then when we wanted them to come, we would call them. Of course, they were on a long leash. And the idea was that if they broke the stay, you would hear the bell rattle and you could go and get your dog and teach them to stay at their place on command. So just basically a basic obedience tool is what we used it for. But today, I use it for my dog, Forley, and my other dogs too. And they're really great because this one is particularly, it's kind of loud, but it's not like overpowering, it's not like a cowbell. But it's loud enough for you to hear it within reason. And I use this thing for all kinds of things, whether it's in the backyard, wandering around my split level apartment, going to the beach. This thing's gone to the Pacific Ocean. It's a little bit tarnished, as you can see, but it works great. And I can hear my dog, and again, unless you all, you think, well, what if there's a group of us that are visually impaired playing with our dogs? Well, unless you all have the exact same bell, chances are you're going to know whose dog is whose. And even if that was the case, you could take like a hammer and just kind of pound on one side of it, and it would change the tone and the timbre of this bell. So if you all happen to get the same bell, there are ways you could DIY modify it. So here's how it works. It's really simple. I just take the bolt snap and clip it to my dog's dead ring, and now it just sits on our collar. The one thing you want to just be aware of, especially if you're just introducing this to your dog for the first time, is make sure that your dog doesn't start chewing on it or playing with it unnecessarily. You don't want them to hurt themselves or to ingest a part of it. And definitely use, like I'm using a zip tie, use something really strong like a zip tie. Don't just use like a little piece of string because it could break, the dog could chew it, and the bell could fall off, of course, and you don't want your dog ingesting any pieces. Go get it. Good girl. Looking for a solution to keep all of your guide dog's equipment in one place? Try this. A set of door hooks. You can get these anywhere, Home Depot, Target, Walmart, pretty much anywhere that sells household items. And you just put this over the top of a door, and you can hang all of your dog's equipment on it, and everything that you need for your dog is right there in one place. So here is all of my regularly used equipment hanging on the closet hooks or the over the door hooks. Of course, I have the leash, harness, food pouch, clicker, bell, a couple of carabiners, just all the basic stuff that I could go and I could just reach up and grab the leash and the harness and take them and put them on the dog. And it's super helpful. I really recommend getting one of these because, again, you can just put everything that you use on a regular basis in one easy to use spot, and it's just totally a grab and go thing. Some schools like Guide Dogs for the Blind train their clients to put the dog shoes on the dog's back feet when working on and off escalators. It's a safety precaution, keeps the dog's feet from accidentally getting caught. And the reason they use the back feet and not front feet, because the dog tends to push harder back legs where most of the weight is put on, and the front legs just sort of steer the dog, if you will. So, but who wants to carry around two booties or dog shoes? It can be kind of a hassle, especially if you're like me and you're kind of like, lean and don't take a lot of stuff. I don't like to carry any more than I have to. So here's what I do. I will take my dog's harness and I will put one shoe on each side of the handle towards the top, and I'll just take the Velcro strap, wrap it around the handle, and do one on each side. And actually a trainer gave me this suggestion, so I cannot take full credit for this hack, although I do use this hack and it is great. And they seem to stay on nice and tight for the most part. The nice thing is if you have a guide dog Shabine harness, you have this little placard right here, just below the handle, and that sort of keeps the shoes from sliding down. However, if you have a more traditional style harness or a different style that doesn't have a sign placard, you totally could do something like this, where you just put it on the handle and it'll just slide down and like kind of touch the harness body. So you could experiment with different methods, but it should work for you as well. And again, this is super handy because if you're out and about, you may not really, again, want to be carrying a bunch of other stuff. You can just whip these off real quick, throw them on your dog's feet, and get on the escalator if you are so inclined to use the escalator with your dog. So I just finished brushing my dog, and of course the challenge now is how do you get the hair out of the brush, or the fur out of the brush. So what I do is take one of these dog combs, you can get them anywhere, any pet store, and I just literally comb out the brush. And see, got some hair. Some fur rather, and that's how you can clean these out. Just literally comb the brush and just do it outside, and then you have a clean brush. So let's say you want to take a tie down for your dog, or a tether, one of these cable tie downs, with you somewhere, but maybe you don't have room in your bag, or you don't want to take a bag and you don't want to carry it on your person. So here's a solution. You can wrap it around your dog's harness, right where the harness meets the body, and I'll show you how to do that. It's super effective. You don't have to put it in a bag. Your dog carries its own equipment, and it doesn't get tangled with anything. Okay, so with your dog leashed and harnessed, because presumably you're going out the door with them, you would take one end of the tie down and hook it to the dead ring. That is the ring that does not pull on the collar, that can't tighten the collar. Then the next thing you want to do is take the other end of the tie down, the part that's not hooked to the dog's collar, and run it between where the end of the handle joins the harness body, right by the dog's right shoulder. And you can do it on the left side as well. I'm just choosing to do it on the right. And you want to just kind of coil it around, run it through so it can't go anywhere. And then you can either hook it to the snap that's hooked, the snap that's hooked to the collar, or if you're concerned about this extra bit of cable, banging into the dog, and concerned about the dog's free range of motion while guiding, you can double it over. So instead of making one loop through the handle, or where the handle meets the body, you make a second loop, so you go back through the handle again, so you're essentially coiling it, and then you hook it to the snap that's attached to the dog's collar. Now you could hook it to the dead ring itself, but I think it's easier if you hook it to the dog's, or to the snap that's attached to that instead. Now you're probably wondering, like, does this get tangled with the leash? You can see I put the leash up as though I was working with the dog, and the leash just rests next to it. There's really nothing you have to be concerned of. You have a nice tight coil so it can't get caught on anything. And then of course when you get to your destination, you just unclip the snap that's attached to the snap that's on the dog's collar, if that makes sense. So the one you clipped to the dog's to make the loop. So you attach the one that makes the loop, you uncoil it from the handle, and now you have a tie down. This one's kind of short, but it's just for demo purposes. And then you could attach it to a table, a chair, anything safe that you would normally tether your dog to. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this life hack video. Hopefully, at least some of these life hacks have been helpful to you. Feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.